markets continue to languish in the red. We're down by about 0.8% after that sudden crack, and we're sustaining at these levels. But let's keep it then with earnings and chat with the management of Uniply Industries. Keshav Kantamneni is joining in on the show. Thank you very much for being with us. It's been a stellar top-line growth, Keshav. What really led to this, and tell us about the volume growth that you clocked in.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think as far as we're concerned, we're looking at a scenario where, sort of the base was quite low. So we've focused on a turnaround on the business, sort of focused on the fundamentals and looked to see where we can sort of improve efficiencies and sort of increase the dealer network. So all of that has resulted in a larger sort of top-line growth. But I think this is sort of phase one of a restructuring and turnaround plan for the business. We see sort of a very positive momentum in the years forward.
Now, your costs have increased significantly, and it has clearly caused a huge margin compression as well as a PAT degrowth. What's the reason for this, and will these high costs continue?
No, actually, if you look at it, our EBITDA margins have actually gone up. The main reason is sort of we bulked up our employee costs as well as the overall infrastructure for a much larger sales number in the years ahead. As you know, sort of the manufacturing business takes time. We sort of build a book of business and then sort of service it over time with the larger dealer network across India. So I think from our perspective, the costs are sort of stabilized now for the sort of future growth potential of the business.
I just want to take a detour and talk about Eicher Motors. Some more clarity regarding that block deal that took place earlier this morning. And what we understand is that the promoters or the founders have sold some stake in the company today. Remember, earlier this morning, as the bourses opened for trade, there was a block deal about 11.5 lakh shares, so something like 4.2% of the equity that traded in 7 blocks. The stock clearly reacted, continues to remain under pressure. Founder Group has sold 11.4 lakh shares. Yes, that's it, at 2100 for about 2100 crore rupees today. So that's the latest coming in on Eicher Motors. But right back to Uniply, and Keshav, let's talk a little bit about what exactly the outlook is on margins. Do you think that you will be able to sustain your margins? The kind of drop that we've witnessed this time around, is that a one-off?
There's actually a gain. I don't know what the numbers you're looking at, but the margins have gone up from about 10.5% to about 13%. I expect that will continue to increase, and we should sort of marginalize around 17 to 18%.
Allow me to come in here, Keshav, because if I'm not mistaken, the margin stands at 10% versus about 29.5% last year.
No, I think the EBITDA margins I'm looking at are about 13.5 versus 10.7 last year.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and sort of the plywood business itself will sort of marginalize around the 17 to 18% number. We expect that, sort of the high costs, as I discussed, we ramped up our employees, etc. This was an acquisition that we made last year, and the business required a certain sort of focus on cleaning out the existing team, so revamping with professionals and making the whole system more robust for a long-term growth model. I think that's been the focus, so we haven't really looked at costs this year. Costs will be a focus going forward, but I think you can sort of marginalize around the numbers we're at and focus on sort of higher revenue growth, which will again sort of take the EBITDA margins upward.
Keshav, can you also update us on the progress of the acquisition of EURO Decor Plywood and the blockboard unit, and by when will the same come on your books, and when will you start production there?
Yeah, so we actually made an announcement last night that we expect to sign the definitive agreement by the 31st of May. There was a procedural delay with regards to sort of some land conversion issues. We wanted to make sure it was all clear before we took it on our books, and we expect production from that plant to start by the 1st of July.
Okay. What is the current capacity that you're operating at? And along with the EURO Decor acquisition, what will your capacity stand at?
Yeah, so if you sort of look at it, we took over the business in June of last year. That was a management change, and since then, there's been a gradual uptick in capacity. It was about 35% when we took it on. We are running at close to full capacity right now. We had some issues with the Chennai floods, etc., as you're aware, which took some days off in the month of December. But that apart, I think the business has been running at high capacity here. The EURO acquisition is about 2 times our current capacity, so we're looking at significant upside once that business starts. It also helps us because sort of you look at the freight component of moving the business, in terms of plywood moving from south to north, it's not as attractive in sort of the medium range of the brand. The higher end products, of course, do sell, but sort of focus on the medium and lower grades of ply. I think that plant will add more value in terms of volumes as well as margins going forward.
Okay, Keshav, we let you go on that. Thank you very much for taking time out and sharing your business outlook with us on Hot Stocks. Well, that's the management of Uniply Industries. The stock today is clearly trending lower, in fact, losing about 7.5%.